So I originally wasn't going to do a video on this, but what prompted me to do one was when I seen Benzino's video, and this was on Panda Chop TV, and Benzino was talking about 50 Cent and snitching allegations, and Benzino was like, if I'm a snitch, what you gonna do about it? Because Benzino was raising a claim about there are tons of people like you have like a Takashi 69, and if we can go over to the mob side, you have Sammy the Bull, and it's like you have all these different people walking around. So if somebody is a snitch, so to speak, what's going to be done about it? Now, I know a snitch is a lot different from being a CI, but it's still the same principle. What are you going to do about that? And this goes to Bimmy. Now, to me, this news isn't new to me because on Brian Glaze Gibbs' channel, Brian Glaze Gibbs was talking about this for maybe close to 2 years or something about Bimmy being a confidential informant. And now in recent times you have Supreme and you have Prince talking about it. And when I was watching MREC TV's interview with Bimmy, Bimmy raised a good point about all this. But before I get to that, let me tell you a little bit of my history with Bimmy. I met Bimmy in real life. In fact, I met him backstage at a Def Jam concert. And, he was a cool, quiet type of brother and everything. He gave me his business card. I didn't really call the number. I mean, at the time, he was an A&R for Def Jam. That's pretty much how I primarily know Bimmy, as an A&R. And I was dealing with a music producer, and the music producer, he bought the card off of me, so I, gave him the, because he wanted some connects with Def Jam. So I sold him the card, and him and Bimmy had a relationship going on for quite some time until Bimmy moved to Atlanta and whatnot and got occupied with some other business interests. So anyway, my impression of Bimmy is he's a cool brother and whatnot. I mean, the brief time I knew him, obviously I don't know him as well as any of the Supreme team knows him or any of his colleagues at Def Jam know him. But to me, Bimmy was, cool brother, very quiet, very humble and whatnot. And, when I watched the MREC TV interview with Bimmy pretty much laid the cards out on the table about the CI allegations raised by Supreme and Prince. And he said the only reason why they're doing it is because they have like a documentary that's out on Venmo. And Bimmy was like, well, that documentary was collecting dust and whatnot. And it's been out for 2 years. I didn't know it was out for 2 years, but Prince is making the rounds on different podcasts promoting it. I'm surprised Prince hasn't been on Vlad TV yet, but that's a whole other video. Anyway, getting back to Bimmy and the CI allegations. When I think about all this, it goes back to Benzino. It's like, what are you going to do about it? And Benzino made that reference to snitching and whatnot when 50 Cent raised the snitching allegations against Benzino. What are you going to do about it? And the thing is, you have a lot of these people that cooperated with authorities. And not to say that Bimmy has, because Bimmy in the MREC TV video made it clear that he didn't cooperate or any of that. But you have all these people out here that have done things like that and are well documented and that haven't ran from it. That are currently doing interviews, that currently have their own podcasts, and yet nothing has been done about them. I mean, you have mobsters with their own podcast that were informants. And I know informants are a lot different from being a CI because CIs will still um be involved in the game while still while giving information up to either the feds or the local police department. And that's a whole different level and whatnot. But the thing is, okay, we outed Bimmy as a quote unquote CI. So what happens now? Is the goal for Bimmy to lose his livelihood? Is the goal for somebody to step up and when they see Bimmy, they're gonna, in the words of Hassan Campbell, turn his TV off? What is the end game with all this? And I have to be on the side of Bimmy because it seems like the end game in all this is to promote a documentary. It just seems that way to me. I haven't watched the Supreme Truth documentary yet, but I plan on going on Venmo and watching it. Maybe I can watch it on my TV or something, but it just seems like the end game here is just to promote something or just to defame Bimmy. There really is no grand goal with this. I mean, Bimmy ain't gonna get handled. Bimmy's still gonna be walking, and I'm not encouraging people to do anything, but still, you have all these different people out here, and nothing's being done about it. And to a degree, you have people that have informed that are being celebrated out here. So there's nothing really there's no actions or no proper recourses taking against these situations. So why bring this up? You should have just kept this to yourself. And what has it been? Allegedly, it's been 40 years, and Bimmy is still, doing his thing and everything. And plus, from my observation, most guys that, or some that have been, quote unquote informants or CIs, they ain't slouches either in the knuckle game and whatnot. So if you used to run up on them, you'd probably be in for a shock at the end of the day. So what happens now to Bimmy now that he's been officially outed as a CI? Now that you have several content creators jumping on the bandwagon and say, "Oh, Bimmy did this, Bimmy did that. Oh, we got the paperwork. We got the paperwork." But nothing's being done. I mean, I don't have any dogs in this fight or horses in this race. So this commentary is just my pure observation here, but why bring it up after 40 years? And you're going to bring it up 40 years with no paperwork or nothing. And that isn't to shame Gerald Prince Miller and all those other people, but I'm just scratching my head and figuring out what the end game with all this is here.